The enemy of self will tell you you cannot do the things you want to do.
Guys, it's me, Willie Chwera, my birth name, of course. You know how we do. Anyway, guys, I'm in bed. I'm probably looking like a sausage. I'm probably looking crusty, but I don't care, to be honest. But yeah, guys. Okay, so today I decided I'm gonna do a video because I'm in my feels. Okay. Oh, guys. Anyway, I'm sure you've noticed I've got my piercings. I finally got my piercings. My lips aren't swollen anymore. Thank God for that. They were swollen as hell, but they're so much better now. Anyway, guys. So today's video. I think the past two videos, I can't remember which one it was. I was talking about how it's so hard to find a partner online and how you never go out. Well, I never really do go out anyway, so online has always been my go-to. So anyway, I remember I was telling you about the guy that I didn't meet online. Guys, can I tell you, he's gone AWOL. He's gone AWOL and I don't know where to find him. I call him, I don't know where he lives, which is so random, but yeah, I don't know where he lives because I told myself, like, I'm not gonna find out where a guy lives, he must come see me because he's pursuing me, right? Anyway, so he's gone AWOL. My so-called boyfriend has gone AWOL and I don't even know where to start. Like, I've been sending SMSs, I've been calling. Now I've reached a point where I'm like, bro, like, that's just desperation vibes, and I am not desperate. Like, he came to me, I never went to him. So yeah, but anyway, if you're gonna watch this one day, bro, like, you kind of messed it up for yourself. Like, communication is key. Unless he's dead or in his sick bed, he has no excuse. So yeah, but anyway, if you're watching this, I've been trying to get a hold of you and I can't get a hold of you, so therefore for me, I'm not gonna stick around and wait for anybody. So guys, I've come to the conclusion that I am no longer in a relationship. So yes, I'm breaking up with him online. Okay, breaking up with him. I'm breaking up with you on YouTube. But anyway, guys, that was my story basically. Like, somebody doesn't disappear. You can't just disappear. I mean, things didn't end in a bad way. Like, I spoke to you. We were together the other day. And then nothing seemed off, unless if there's another person in the picture, be an adult about it and just say, listen, I've got a person in the picture. Everybody's understanding, And speaking of which, actually, now that I've actually broken up with him, now I can actually derail and get into what it is that I really, really want to talk about. So the other day I was talking to a friend of mine and we were talking about how men are so not truthful, guys. Okay, I know females lie as well, but men are the pits, okay? So I was telling a friend of mine, I'm like, you know what? I think I've been in so many relationships that I had no idea what the dynamics of that relationship was. Only he knew. And I don't know if the other partner knew, but then I've had numerous phone calls and messages and shit from other women. And that's another thing, guys. As a woman, respect yourself, because when men go out, they're the ones that pursue other women. We don't pursue your men, We don't pursue your husbands. We don't pursue your boyfriends, your fiancés. So to go and attack another woman, that's just degrading on your behalf, because he's going to go out and do it with somebody else again anyway. So rather confront him about it and say, listen, bro, I'm not happy, because at the end of the day, he's the one that came to us. As a female, he's the one that came to me. And now you're making a big deal out of it as if I went chasing him. No, it didn't work. It doesn't work that way, Anyways, before I get into any kind of relationship, I kind of ask first, what are the dynamics? Is there a person in the picture? Are you married? Do you have kids? I know it's extra, but I ask those questions because I try to protect myself for the future, I've asked a guy before and he's like, yeah, I'm married and I've got a wife, but I want a second wife. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to think about this, Does she know about it? He's like, no, she doesn't know about it. I'm like, okay, bro. I'm not going to do the whole second wife polygamy vibe before you talk to her, because obviously you need permission from your wife, That's how I know it. That's what I've heard. You need permission from the first wife for you to bring a second wife. And also, what are your reasons for wanting to be in a polygamous relationship? Why do you want a second wife, it's like, I know they always say like, oh no, it's not cheating. I don't know, bro. Like, I mean, if you don't ask for permission in the first place and she kind of doesn't know that there's another woman, that is actually cheating, you know. Anyways, getting back to the topic I want to talk about, guys, the relationship dynamics are so important in this day and age. It's so easy to get dick or pussy. Like, sex is so easy to come by, but genuine relationships aren't, you know. So personally, we were having this conversation and we were in our feels, my girl and I, you know, we were in our emotions and in our feels, and we were talking, and I was saying to her, you know what, guys get into polyamorous relationships unknowingly to the other partner or partners, you know, and I feel like it's really unfair because that's like messed up. It's like, because like I was talking to this other guy, like an ex of mine recently actually, and we kind of like, we're just talking now and whatever, you know. I don't know if I'm gonna go back to him or not. I don't know. He's an ex for a reason. But we didn't break up in a bad way. We were just not in the right space at the right time. So I guess you can rekindle something from a long time ago if it didn't end badly. You know, there was nothing wrong with that relationship. Anyway, so he's like, no, I have 2 people that I'm sleeping with. And I'm like, okay, hold the fucking phone, bro. Like, you're sleeping with 2 other women? And he's like, yeah, I'm sleeping with 2 other women. And I'm like, okay. The 2 other women you're sleeping with, do they know that you're sleeping with both of them? And he was like, yeah, they do know that I'm sleeping with both of them. And he was like, okay. So I was like, okay, fine. So now do they know each other? He's like, they do know each other. They live in the same flat. And I'm like, that's a bit extra, you know. But you know what? I appreciate the fact that he came to me and he opened up and he said, listen, I'm in a polyamorous relationship. He didn't want to call it that. To him, they're just his fuck buddies, but it's basically a polyamory thing because it's 2 of them and he keeps on continuously going back to them, you know. Whether there's a title there or not, he's exclusive with those 2. And then I'm like, okay, so what? Do you want me to be the 3rd person? I'm like, no. And he's like, yeah, if you don't mind. I'm like, no. I don't know how I feel about that, you know. I don't know how I feel about being like partner number 3, and then I don't know if you're using protection with those people or not. Are you getting tested? You know, like, what if I catch something? I'm like, no, I'm not interested. So I said to him, listen, if you want to pursue something and you want to pursue me, you got to cut out the other 2 because I'm here to be exclusive. I'm not going to be sleeping with other men as well and doing funny things and whatever, you know. But anyway, each to their own. Everybody has their own preference and who they want to date and how they want to date. And whatever kind of relation you guys have, kudos to you. But it's not my vibe, you know. So I was like, okay, I don't know if I want to go down that road. And a lot of people, guys, like if I tell, you know what, I'm going to turn this into a story time. But I'm talking about men, right? Speaking of which, last year I was in a relationship. You all know I got dumped. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I got dumped at some point. Anyway, this person dumped me. We were together for like 10 months, you know, and then he broke up with me. Fine. I wasn't hurt or touched or whatever. It felt like breath of fresh air. Bye. Godspeed. Whatever you're doing, enjoy. I'm good, bro. Anyway, so after that, like, I had a guy. He's been pursuing me as well, right? This guy. But he didn't know if I was taken or not. So randomly out of nowhere, I'm like, ugh, why are you always happy? You're always smiling. You're always in a good mood. And he's like, yeah, you know, life is good. Why can't I be happy? I'm like, okay, cool. So randomly out of nowhere, I'm like, oh, by the way, like, I'm happy, but I'm happy because I got, like, somebody dumped me. And he's like, how can you be happy about that? And he's like, are you sure you're happy? And I'm like, yeah, I'm happy because I don't feel like I've lost anything, you know. I feel like he lost way more than I did. But anyway, that's a story for another day. I don't want to touch into that. Anyways, so he pursues me. Okay, fine. We go on a few dates. You know, he takes me out. So now one day he takes me out and go to his place. Nothing happens. Okay, like, I try to keep my morals because the nigga was fine. Try to keep my morals. I try to keep my morals, okay. But anyway, so nothing happened. So I knew where he lived. Met his colleagues and his friends because he lived with his colleagues and his friends. And then he took me out again. So we went out on like after taking me out 3 times. So now he's smitten, right? So he says to me, so now he's the one that's initiating this thing. So he says to me, so what are we? that very dreaded question, you know, the question that men run away from, flashing first, you know, run. But he's the one that initiated the question. So I said to him, what do you want us to be, you know? Because, I mean, at the end of the day, he was the one that was leading, right? Because he was pursuing me. So I was just tagging along, you know? Okay, fine. So I'm tagging along and shit. So he's like, no, I want you to be my girlfriend. Okay, fine. I'm like, okay, cool. If that's how you feel, yeah, we can try it out. You know, we can try do this whole relationship thing and see where it goes. Okay, we go on a few more dates. It gets hectic. It gets physical. Obviously, like, a nigga was fine. A girl is hot. Obviously, there's like some kind of like, you know, there's like chemistry. You know what I mean? It was banging. It was bomb ass. If you know me, if I say bomb ass, you know it's over. It was bomb ass. Anyway, so but actually, guys, before he asked me to be his girlfriend, we had a conversation, right? And I said to him, bro, like, he opened up to me and he's like, no, I've got this partner or whatever. I've got this woman that I'm busy servicing, you know. So he's busy having sex with her, and she's married. And I'm like, okay, interesting. You know, I'm not gonna judge. You know, I'm not gonna judge. Like I said, I'm not here to judge anybody. You know what I mean? And then so I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm single. I'm unmarried. I don't have any children. So why don't you like break off that chain, close that chapter, and then we can open our own chapter. And then he agreed, right? I don't know if he really did it or not, but I spent so much time with him, he didn't have a chance to actually go to this person. So I truly believe that he had closed that chapter, which he did. He did close the chapter. Okay, fine. And then fast forward. Now his court feelings is fallen really hard. Now he's feeling really bad. And in the interim, guys, before as well, I had asked him, are you in a relationship? He's like, no. Do you have children? I've only got a son. Okay, cool. I have nothing against men who have kids, you know. And then he's like, but he just said he's got a son. He only mentioned a son, right? And then I said to him, are you married? He said, no. Okay, fine. A few months down the line, guys, now a nigga's tripping, he's caught. He's like, this girl is so sweet. I don't want to mess up a good person. And then he's like, there's something I want to tell you. And I'm like, what? What do you want to tell me? And then he's like, no, there's someone else. And I'm like, what do you mean there's someone else? Like, did you find... And keep in mind, I was the first black girl he's ever dated and had like intimate relations with. So I said to him, did you find another black girl? Because you know, once you go black, you don't go back, right? And he's like, no, it's not another black girl. I'm like, what is it, an ex of yours? Like, not really. And I'm like, okay, what? Then I went over to his place later that night, right? Later that night, I go back to his place. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like you said, you're going to tell me something. Open up. Like, I'm not going to, like, there's nothing, like, what's the worst that can happen? If you don't tell me the truth, it's going to come out eventually, right? But anyway, men don't like speaking the truth. I don't know what the hell men are afraid of, but anyway. So he's like, I'm married. I'm like, okay. You didn't tell me this because... And he's like, no, I am married to her, but we kind of separated. We just live in the same space. And we have 2 kids together. But actually, no. The kid thing, I went and found out on my own. And this is why I have an obsession, guys. My obsession with humans. I want your name and your surname because I do my PI shit, okay? Like, I do an investigation. I look for you until I find your ass. So I found him and I found that he had a wife and he had 3 children, guys. Not 2, 3, okay? I saw his son. He had sent me a picture of his son, so okay, fine. It was legit. His son, he was honest about his son, but he didn't tell me nothing about his daughters. I wasn't angry or anything because, you know what, like I said, nothing is guaranteed in life, you know. Men do the things they do because they can and because we allow it. Fine. After he told me, I was touched, I won't lie. Like, I was proper touched, you know. And then I said to myself, she lives in another province and he's always this side, you know. And I need to get serviced anyway because I'm single, you know. And with me being me, I try, you know, I'm never a selfish person. But I was like, I'm gonna be a selfish bitch. So I was like, okay, whatever. So we continued our thing, but it only continued for like a few more weeks, you know, for like a month or so. Then I decided, you know, I'm gonna get a boyfriend so I can just get him out of my system. He's still in my system, believe it or not, till this day. I'm still not over him. But the fact that he's married, I respect his wife, and I'm like, you know what, whether you guys are together or not, you're still married. And it's not like you're going to leave your wife for me anyway. That doesn't ever happen. Like, in which world does a man leave their wife, you know? So yeah, but anyway, kind of broke it off. And then he decided to move away, guys. I was like, why are you moving, you know? And he's like, no, I can't stand to see you with another guy. And I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean you can't stand to see me with another guy? You are the one that's married, and I must be okay with you posting pictures of you and your wife and your kids, and then I must be your girlfriend on the side, and then be quiet and be okay with it, and then have you tell me that when I go home, don't SMS or call me. I mean, what kind of life is that, guys? Ain't nobody trying to be a dirty secret. No. Fuck that, bro. No. I am nobody's option, and I'm nobody's dirty secret, so no, honey. You know what? No. So I broke it off, and I'm like, bro, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna happen. And he was so touched. Okay, he was genuinely into me. But I was like, no. This must stop, Sham. It's gonna end now. Like, it's not gonna happen. Let's cut it. You better cut it. Cat. You know? Cat. So, yeah, so I broke it off with him. Moved. And I haven't heard from him ever since. Like, a nigga was touched. Anyway. So, guys. Anyway, so that was like my story time with like a married man. I've had married men ask me to be their partner like so many times. I've had married men, but you know what? I always ask them like, why? What's your reason? Like, what is your reason for pursuing other people out of your marriage? A lot of guys are like, no, my woman's libido is not as like hectic as mine. I have a very, I don't know, a very fruitful libido. I don't know how to put it, but their sex drive is skyrocket high. And their wives are mediocre, you know. And I said to them, but then, like, how many people are you going to sleep with? Like, why don't you just, like, teach your woman what you want? Like, tell her what you want, you know. Teach her, you know. And they'll be like, no, we do teach them and we do 1, 2, and 3. The one guy was like, no. Before I married my wife, I had, like, 8 sexual partners, including her. And then I was like... Boy, you tripping, right? And you went and married the poor child knowing very well that you were a sperm, okay? You are a sperm. A sperm, okay? And he's like, nah, whatever, like, it's just my sex drive is high. And I said to him, okay, then why did you marry her? Like, and then I asked him, okay, fine, ever since you've been married, have you ever stepped out of your marriage? And he said, no. And I said to him, then why do I do it now? What's making you think of it now? And 90% of these people are on social media, guys. They're on dating sites, your Tinders, your whatever's, they're out here. And some of them aren't truthful, guys. Oh, it's real out here. It is so real. So I was like, okay, cool. With me personally, I'm not gonna go that direction. Like, I'm not a home wrecker or anything like that, you know. It's different if you know from get-go that somebody is married, as opposed to being trapped into something and then being told later, you know. I mean, I've had a lot of friends. Okay, I've got this one friend. I don't even know. Okay, friend, I'm so sorry for telling your story, but I'm going to tell your story, friend, and you know who you are. I had a friend of mine who was dating some guy, and then this guy promised her marriage, right? So in her mind, she's thinking this guy is like single. They dated for like maybe years or a year or so, and then she fell pregnant. And then after she fell pregnant, he was saying to her, no, get rid of it. And she's like, no, I'm not going to get rid of it, you know. And she was asking, why do you want me to get rid of it? Like, it's not like you have anybody in your life. And he's like, actually, I'm married and I have children. My friend was shook, guys. Like, she was so shook. But her baby is beautiful. Beautiful baby boy. So, but yeah, guys, men are men. You know what? Men cheat because they can. Men cheat because we let them. And men don't cheat with themselves. Men cheat with women. And that's a fact, you know. If you know that a person is married and you're like, okay, cool, I don't mind being their concubine, or I don't mind being their side chick or their mistress. Like, you need to know that there will be a point where it's going to come back and bite you in the ass, you know. So for me personally, I don't do people's men or whatever. Like, if a person is taken, they're taken. Like, honestly, unless the other person knows, then I'm not comfortable with it, you know. I've never been comfortable with being like second or whatever. Like, the minute I find out that shit has hit the fan or there is somebody else in the picture, bye, I'm out, I'm gone, you know. It's happened so many times, guys. Like, I think I've got like this this bad luck. I don't know, maybe my gut feeling is good, but I think so many people that I've dated were not faithful. Like, none of them were faithful. There were a few, I'm not gonna lie, shame. There were a few guys who were faithful, but most of them weren't faithful. I don't know what you're chasing. I don't know why you want to chase a million women. I don't know what you're trying to achieve. You know, when women do it, we are called sluts and hoes and 1, 2, and 3. You labeled the worst things in the world. When men do it, they get credit for it. Cheating is cheating at the end of the day, you know. And men need to understand, bro, if you cheat, women can cheat too, you know. So that's the problem. Like, men think like, oh, I got this. Like, I'm the shit. Like, I can have 10 girlfriends at the same time. Boy, we can date 10 men at the same time too. You know that, right? And this thing of like, oh, whatever, like my key fits into any lock and your vagina is going to be stretched and it's going to be like a pothole. Says who? How many women have had multiple children and their pussies are still tight? Ladies, don't listen to that trash. I'm not advocating cheating or having multiple partners, but you know what? Do your own. Be you, honey. If you feel like you need 5 boyfriends, get those 5 boyfriends, honey. If you feel like you need Tom, Dick, and Harry, and Samuel, and whoever, bring those people in your circle, honey, because if a nigga can have Sarah and whatever, all these women, what's stopping you from having all those men? Just because you have 5 guys in your life doesn't necessarily mean you're sleeping with all 5 of them. That's the difference with women. Men sleep with everything that walks. Anything that wears a skirt and has a vagina, men want to sleep with it, you know? But as women, we look for different things in different men. If I was a woman and I was like, okay, cool, I need attention, maybe I'll have like my Tom. And if maybe I need Dick, I'll have my Dick. And if I need a Harry, I know that Harry is going to be my hubby, I'm going to keep him around because I'm like, okay, cool. Those aren't options. We like testing the waters because shit hits the fan all the time. You know, men can be options too, by the way, you know. So, but unfortunately, I don't do that because I like giving my attention, all my attention to one person. You know, sometimes it's messed up, but hey, that's just me. I don't like spreading my attention to too many people. That's just me personally. But anyway, guys, that was my video. My video was about renting, about me being in my feels, breaking up with my so-called boyfriend that I didn't meet on the internet. But anyway, guys, I don't know where he is. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe if he comes back and he apologizes, maybe I'll take him back. But at this point, I'm single and ready to mingle. You know what? And if you like what you see, honey, hit me up in the comments, okay? Like, comment, subscribe, share this video because everybody needs to know that whatever a man can do, women can do it as well. So guys, I'm going to close up this video now and I'm just going to enjoy the rest of my evening. So guys, have a good one. Bye.